Hello, my friends. How's it going? I was just sitting to edit this video that we're about to embark on together. And I was like, oh, I didn't actually film an intro for it. So here I am introducing a painting video that I'm about to show you that is for a painting I am so proud of. I think it is beautiful. And I have it hanging on my wall now because I finished it a couple days ago. And I'm just excited to show you the process. So I filmed it. It took a while. You're gonna see a lot of different shots of me working. It is an acrylic painting on a wood panel. And I believe I started the background a little bit before I started filming, so you'll see. We don't have to go over it. I have been loving doing painting and like physical art lately, like rather than digital. So that's the space I'm in right now. And I just wanted to make this, like I've got this footage and I thought, well, let's just chit chat over it because that's fun and I'm always here to yap. And I thought that I wanted to talk a little bit about my current view on like what I'm doing vis-a-vis markets, because this is probably in the title of the video, so spoiler, I don't think I'm gonna do markets anymore. So I wanted to talk to you about that because us artists, small business owners, we don't often have a lot of other people doing what we're doing that we like chat business with. Maybe you do. If you do, lucky you. But I thought I'll just chit chat about it. Maybe you're drawing or painting too and we can hang out. I also have some like thoughts on just like my transition to doing more like physical medium. So anyways, let's just hang out. I hope this is a cool, relaxing video. I recognize that I'm very poorly lit right now. Maybe I can fix that in post. Anyways, hope you're having a great day. Hope you have something cute to work on or to drink or eat while we sit and chit chat about art and being an artist. Okay, let's do that. Here's my little painting. Do you think it's cute so far? Because I do. I love this pink background color. I did a ton of paintings in like a series that all had this pink ground and just love it because it mostly comes through in the clouds. You know I'm a pink girly. So yeah, I'll talk to you about this painting before we get into other stuff. It is a landscape based on a place in Dartmoor National Park. And I studied in Plymouth as an international student many years ago. So I had like some really cool photos and found some other references and stuff of the spot. So that's what it is. It's a national park. So it's like the cool rocks and then hills and stuff in the distance. So I want to talk about markets. I know that a lot of the content on my YouTube channel and just stuff I talk about in general is about like my art business and markets specifically because I've been doing just like markets, not just art ones, but like farmers markets, etc., different shows for 6+ years now. And I feel like I've kind of come to the end of my journey on that. And I thought I'd just talk about it because maybe other people are feeling the same, or maybe you're just getting started and you're feeling like a little scared off. And I definitely think markets are still great, but I wanted to maybe talk about why I'm not doing them anymore, or like I have one small one already booked that I'm not going to cancel, but I think beyond that I'm going to not apply to many anymore. And the reason for doing this, I think, is that it doesn't really fit my business anymore. The reasons are both because markets have changed and because my business has changed. In the way that markets have changed, I think probably a lot of people can feel this. It's that there is a lot more saturation now. So there's a lot more vendors, a lot more artists who are selling their stuff in person, which I think is great. I don't have a problem with that at all. And there's also a lot more shows. But at the end of the day, like we're not in a great place economically, especially in Canada. Like our economy is not great. And I'm just seeing like a steady decline in the last 2 years, especially of sales at these shows. And I'm also seeing the price of the shows go up and the cost of printing and manufacturing go up. So the margins are getting worse for me specifically. You may have different margins, different type of product. Different products do differently in different economies, right? Like when some people are buying art prints, other people are buying art originals. And I mostly sell prints. So that has done fine, but just, yeah, it's just not necessarily the numbers, the math ain't mathin', you know? It's not necessarily worth it for me to be doing shows in person anymore. Especially because my business has been growing a lot online. When I started doing art markets, many years ago, I didn't have like an online presence. I didn't have YouTube. I barely have an art Instagram. So there was no real way for me to sell art online because no one could see it. And now I have my YouTube channel, but I also have a pretty small Instagram, honestly, but just like, I don't know, I get sales from it. It's pretty cool. So that's changed, and I don't have to go out to markets as much anymore. In terms of there being more markets in general, something that I've also noticed, and maybe this is more present just where I live, but there's been a lot more people starting small businesses or side hustles around hosting markets. And I think that's cool because I really appreciate when a market is run by someone who's dedicated, and it's, they actually put a lot of effort in, and they invest in marketing, and they run it professionally. I think that's all great. But I'm just seeing a lot of people doing that, and a lot of these markets are competing with each other for peak weekends, and it's just competitive. So, and of course, the more, the more person hours that go into running a show, the more it's going to cost, because of course it will. Anyways, that's just what I've been thinking about. So I still think that lots of people, markets are great for. I still attend them. I buy art from markets and other stuff. So I don't want to discourage anybody if they're just getting started, because I think, like I said, if you don't have another channel in which to present your art or your products to the world, then going in person is fantastic. And I definitely think it was what made me be able to get established running this business. So yeah, but I think, maybe that's just the end of an era for me. I had previously said that I was going to just do Christmas markets because that time of year is definitely still more lucrative, but I don't know that I want to actually spend my holiday season working my butt off at markets, which are hard work with bad weather, and everything gets damp and humid, and I don't know, that's just an East Coast problem maybe, but it's a real grind. And in the past, like I said, 6 years, every holiday season, whether it be for my art business or my family's business or whatever, you end up just exhausted by the time the actual holidays roll around. And that's not maybe the most fun. That's all. I don't know, I might like to enjoy a December and November. I can't imagine a November with my weekends free. So that's, yeah. Switching to not doing markets also presents some different approaches I can do for my products. So when you do markets, obviously you have to bring a lot of inventory, and I do like having a sort of set inventory of my most popular things here at my studio for online orders and such. But in general, I do have a pretty big catalog of stuff on my online store, is kind of what I'm thinking of. And I can make things more on demand as people want them versus having to stock everything, including some maybe not bestsellers. And I think that's going to be maybe a little bit better just in terms of my managing my workload, because it's a lot to hold a big inventory at all times. I also create a lot of art, so it's not ideal for me, I think, to be making prints out of everything. It would be better if I can list it and then find out what's popular that way. But this is just I'm still figuring it out. I'm pretty still new to selling art, even though I've been doing it for many years, especially online. That part's new. I only opened my online shop, I think, last year. So it's I'm still learning parts of it. I am doing a lot more physical mediums lately, and I'm finding it really great. I'm finding it very therapeutic as well, and I'm having a hard time actually getting myself to do anything digital, which is ironic because I worked so hard to figure out a style that I could draw in digital that I really liked, and I still can do it, but I guess I just kind of went through a really big burst of that. And now that I have found other things that are interesting, it's hard for me to go back. So work in progress, but I am seeing a lot of improvement in my physical medium skills, which is great because I kind of was doing some goal setting, and I realized that I would really love one day, not right now, I don't have enough stuff, to have my work in a gallery, to do an exhibition. And I don't really think that same opportunity exists if I'm strictly a digital artist. I mean, I'm sure there are opportunities, but I'm thinking more galleries in my community in like Halifax and Nova Scotia, and I don't personally know, but a lot of opportunities for digital art for those types of spaces, but I do see lots of calls for collections and things that are more traditional. So that's kind of where, and I'm by traditional I don't mean like fine oil painting, I just mean like not digital art. I mean things you do with your hands that isn't iPad. Yeah, I like both. One of the art forms I've been getting into lately is collage. I ended up going to a workshop type thing at a local collage art gallery here, and just gave it a go because I just thought it would be fun and maybe I'd make some art friends, and I had a really great time, and I've been enjoying doing collage. You can see some of my pieces on my Instagram if you are curious. But I don't know, I have never really thought about it as a medium I would get into because I was just so focused on like, I don't know, executing images I had in my head. But now that I'm doing the collage, it's like, first of all, super fun, like find and seek game you kind of play with at first, just going through books and magazines and stuff. I'm having a great time with it. And then the actual compositions, I don't know, I just feel like it kind of flows so naturally. So it is really great doing that, as well as I've been doing a lot more sketchbooking. I did a sketchbooking challenge recently that I have a video coming out soon on. Yeah, there's just like a lot, I don't know, I'm feeling very called to just pursue creativity and less commerce, which of course, I mean, isn't everybody. Like everybody would rather just make art and not focus on the work, but just the way that I've got things set up right now, I feel like I have time to do that, and it feels very luxurious, and I'm really taking advantage of it. It's also been summer, so like the weather's nice, I'm hanging out on my patio, doing my art out there, and yeah, I'm just in a really good space about it. So I think there is a lot of pressure in the art community online, especially when you're trying to build like a portfolio or a cohesive online presence, to make your art look like one visual brand. Do you know what I mean? Like you want to be able to look at your Instagram profile, for example, and be like, ah yes, all this art was made by the same hand and I can see the thread that runs through it and it looks similar, it's all the same medium, and yeah. But man, I really struggle with that because it's just really hard for me because I like doing so many different things. I'm like actively right now looking around my office as I'm recording this. I have like my jewelry making, and I have my collage station, and I have my paints, and I have like, I don't know what else, just there's some sewing stuff too. Like I'm just doing all kinds of creative activity, and I don't want to say that only this one category of it ends up as part of my like online art presence, because it's all part of my self-expression that is, in my mind, actually a cohesive narrative. Like, you know, this painting I'm doing here of this landscape is really rooted in nostalgia for me. So there's the color story in that I'm really drawn to these like vibrant sort of pastels, but like just vibrant colors. So that is cohesive with my other work color-wise. But narrative-wise, I think there's like a lot of nostalgia in the work I do. And this location is very nostalgic for me. So even though I'm in a different medium, thematically, color story-wise, and narratively, I do think this is still cohesive with my other work. And I think that's just something that we as like modern digital era artists have to reconcile with. Like if you are comfortable just having like art that looks like that is my brand and that is what my art looks like, then amazing. I think that's really good, and also I think a lot more marketable. But I don't think it's bad or impossible or even necessarily very difficult to have a more eclectic approach to your art. Let me know what you guys think about that, because I'm still like working on this. Obviously it's a process, and not everybody has the luxury to just make art, including me. Sorry, I should quantify this. I also don't have the luxury to just make whatever I want and just like do anything. I also need to sell art and hopefully that happens. But I was reading a book I got from the library called The Business of Being an Artist. I don't necessarily recommend it. It's not even very old, but I found that it was very traditional in like, here's how to get your work into galleries and find buyers, and it was just like very old school, but it was modern. But what am I trying to say? I felt like the entire online art community wasn't represented there. I was like, what about all these Instagram and art YouTubers and like people who do art content who are actively making a living being artists? They're not mentioned at all in the business of being an artist. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like our approach is a little underrepresented despite how big it is. Yeah, I don't know. Part of like the whole idea of being a modern working artist is like, how do you make your art and also make a living off of it? I think that's very difficult. I think there's still a lot of people who think of making a living off your art as being extremely challenging and narrow, but I think as long as you broaden up your perspective on what it means to make a living off art, then it's actually not as hard as you might worry it is. And what I mean by that is just like, not making a living off your art isn't just selling like originals. It's not even just like selling prints. I think you can do a lot more. So for example, I think I did a video last year that was about all of like my income streams and things, and it's not that different now, but oh, I thought I finished the painting and I was talking too much. No. Okay, still lots to go. Yeah, so yes, my market section was, you know, a big chunk of my art business, but I think without it, that's fine because my online store, like that's a big part of it. Then there's my art content, like this video you're watching, which, hey, shout out to you. Thank you for watching it. It helps make me live. So there's like content sharing my art, my process, building community around it. That's something I'm trying to work on still. I got more stuff in the works about community building. But also I'm still doing like teaching online as well, not like live classes, although I've thought about it, but I don't know. I'm too scatterbrained to pull that off. But I still have all my like online courses I've taught on graphic design, and that's all still a big thing for me. And I have more classes I want to be teaching because I like doing it. And so that's all part of being a working artist, in my opinion. It's a little teaching, it's a little selling, it's a little entertaining. That's pretty cool though. Like, it's not a career that I could have imagined existed. Like the Business of Being an Artist book, people. If I had read that book, you know, I wouldn't have felt encouraged like I could do it, because everything they're talking about, admittedly, I didn't finish the book, but I read like what each chapter was about. So I don't think I was missing anything. If I was, my bad. But I don't think I would have felt very like encouraged if I had just been doing the research as like a traditional job hunt. Do you know what I mean? Like if I set out being like, I want to be an artist when I grow up, so I'm going to do the work and figure out how be an artist. But I don't think I would have felt capable of it. I think I had to just kind of muddle into it. And that's probably what a lot of people do. It's just kind of muddle their way into it. Another thing I really want to move into with my work, just like business-wise, is wholesale, especially for my prints and my cards. That's pretty much all I'm looking to wholesale right now, I think. I don't have like a lot of stuff being manufactured. I'm just in a very like streamlined mindset for that. So I think replacing markets with more wholesale as well is probably a good idea, because then I can do it, you know, in the comfort of my own home. I can do things very precisely. I'm not having to guess on quantities. I can quality control everything, and then it's nice getting just paid a lump sum as opposed to having to work hard doing sales for many hours. But it is hard in its own way. There's a lot of time that goes into setting up wholesale, and I would like to expand my catalog a little bit. So that's, you know, being an artist is a dream come true for me. So it's not something I take lightly, but it is something that I still find difficult, even though it's a joy. I think that's pretty fair, and I think most people would say that if they have been able to do something that they dreamed about doing, or, you know, when you finally reach a goal, sometimes you've reached it and you're happy, but it's still really hard, and I think it's okay to admit that. It's not like a failing to be like, oh, I got everything I wanted, and it's kind of sucks sometimes, but it is still what I wanted. I think that's okay. talking more broadly about like art and YouTube, I love my YouTube channel. I am so proud of it. Like the hard work I put in my videos, the people that have connected with me here, like it truly is one of my like biggest accomplishments to date. Something I'm very excited to like tell people about. Like I'm proud of it, and I'm still someone who struggles with like feeling proud of myself and recognizing achievements. So it's a biggie. So first of all, shout out to you guys. Big shout out to you guys. But it's also a little bit, I do struggle with it because there is sort of a duality in my content. If you ever have a look at my channel and just look, I have sort of two veins of content. And one is, here's me doing my little art thing and join me and it's fun and encouraging and I'm trying to be positive and build like a nice space for us. And also like there's some vloggy stuff and a video like this where I'm just painting and we're chatting. And then there's the other side where it's like, here's useful information on how I do X. Like here's how I make a notepad, or here's how I run my greeting card business, or here's like informational stuff. And that informational stuff is a lot harder for me to make because first of all, I have to like really plan it, and it's like me delivering information that I want to make sure is good, useful, truthful, and I take a lot of responsibility for that content. I want to make sure it's good. And the kind of people who love that content, and maybe it's you and I'm super grateful for you, but there's not necessarily a lot of overlap of people who want to know about like me personally and the art that I do. So I'm finding that like I'm making some videos that I'm really passionate about that are more me centric or my art centric, and they do not do the numbers. So it's really hard because on the one hand I'm like, well, if this is going to be part of my income, like I need to just make the kind of videos that do the numbers. But then it's like, well, but if on the other hand this is a form of creative expression for me and community building, then I need to do what feels the most fun. And I'm really trying to balance both of those out because, as I've said in other places, like making videos is an art form to me. It's, even if they're informational and not as artsy, I guess. But video editing is fun. I like it. It's all good to me. So yeah, I don't really have an answer on that. But if you have any thoughts, like please send it my way because I am trying to figure like, do I keep making both and just letting that be like hit or miss, or do I lean harder into the stuff that's more personal and more satisfying but ultimately not as popular? Or do I just say like, okay, no, be practical and just make the tutorial based content? I don't know. I really struggle with it, and I think that makes me like slower to post because I will have an idea and then I'll get like not nervous about it, but I'll start to like hesitate. I don't know. I'm still working that out, but it is really nice to feel like I can decide to make something, put my heart into it, like this painting, and it's not just me appreciating it hanging on my wall, but like we've just sat here together, and when we got through this video together chatting, and like we had an experience together, and my art did that, because if I hadn't done this painting, we wouldn't be talking. So I feel like satisfied as an artist, like I feel like my art did something because of that. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm getting a little, I'm getting emotional. Let's wrap this up. Here is my finished painting. I hope that you like it. This is it on my wall where I put it with some other landscapes. One I did and one Beatrix Potter did. Shout out to the OG Beatrix Potter. I love it. Also, isn't this wall of my house cute? I painted it pink. Anyways, thank you so much for being here. I love you. We'll chat soon. Bye.